It's not often that we claim to have the perfect trade, but this one might be just that. On our last show, we mentioned how the Wizard of Oz could really juice ticket sales for the Sphere, aka Sphere Entertainment, ticker symbol SPHR. And that was just as some of the early TikTok videos and news reports were starting to surface, and everyone was seeing clips of the tornado and flying monkeys and those coveted foam apples. At the time, Chris said that he'd already pulled some data on the Sphere, including the website checkout page and Ticketmaster, and despite some controversy at the time over the digital remake and additions to the classic Wizard of Oz, he said that the last 30 days were looking pretty good, so he took a position in the Sphere's stock. And since then, the stock is up more than 40%. Financial Xers have, do we call them TikTok, FinTalk, whatever. They've done their deep dives. They're projecting ticket sales are way ahead of expectations. They're hitting their quarterly projections just like halfway through the quarter, and they're on pace to hit those targets even quicker next quarter. So the question now is, what's next for Sphere? More locations, more classic movie remakes, more concerts, more stock prices to the moon? Or was this all just a fluke, setting up unrealistic expectations that cannot possibly be sustainable? Today on Dumb Money, the perfect stock trade and what we're doing now.
This is Dumb Money Live.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to Dumb Money Live. Quick reminder, if you don't mind, smash the like button, and while you're at it, write a review for us for our podcast, because doing those things, they're quick, they're easy, they're free, and they really do help other people find the show. Chris, Jordan, our last show was about 3 weeks ago. That is unacceptable timing, but we were talking about the Taylor Swift engagement, which seems like a lifetime ago. And we were talking about rumors that Taylor Swift could do a residency at the Sphere and how that would be an all-in trigger for a stock play, and the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. All of that seems like 5 lifetimes ago. But Chris, you were confident enough at the time in the pre-Wizard of Oz data to go ahead and buy Sphere stock. So what were you thinking at the time?
Yeah, by the way, Dave, I think the title of this episode, if I had it my way, would have been The Perfect Social Arb Trade, but that doesn't index well, does it, on YouTube? So that's why you shortened it to
too many words.
The Perfect Trade.
By the way,
Social Arb, nobody knows what that
thing
means unless you already watch our show.
Yeah, on the Taylor Swift thing, I do want to talk about a mistake that Chris made.
OMG.
I feel really bad about this. I texted Chris and Dave a meme that said, congratulations, Travis is pregnant or something. And he took it to mean that Taylor Swift was pregnant, and so he put on a big, Carter's? Did you buy Carter's or something?
That was having the prepared mind. Carter's was a stock pick that we talked about. We knew that if there was a Taylor Swift pregnancy, that would be the trade. Jordan jokingly sends a meme that Kelsey is pregnant.
Yeah,
Chris doesn't read, doesn't pay attention, just immediately buys the stock. What happened?
There's more to it than that. So I had planned this fast trade on the Taylor Swift pregnancy to immediately buy Carter's baby the second that we had an inkling that she was pregnant, and I would just fast trade that stock, because I think there is a thesis that people will have that there will be a mini baby bump of other Swifties wanting to get pregnant to go through all those life experiences together with Taylor. Like side by side virtually. And so Jordan, you sent a text to me and Dave of a meme that said Travis is pregnant. And in my dyslexic brain, I saw that as Taylor is pregnant. There were only 5 minutes left in the market on a Friday afternoon. It was 2:55 Central.
I should have sent that text at 3:01. I feel really bad.
Oh my God. So I immediately freaked out, and I was like, oh my God, I don't have enough time. What did I buy, Jordan? $40,000 of call options on Carter's baby right as the market closed. And I was like, yes, I got it. I got my trade in. And then I don't know at what point after that, I started Googling, Taylor Swift is pregnant. But I didn't see anything. I went on X and I was like, Taylor Swift pregnant. I was like, wait, why is nobody else talking about this? And I looked back and I was like, oh no, it was a joke. It wasn't even And I have never felt dumber in my entire life. Now that could have been a disaster, Jordan, but I
Yeah.
believe I got out of that trade on Monday morning at essentially what I bought it at. But I was totally prepared to lose 35,000 on that mistake.
Yeah, I felt bad once I realized you actually bought stock based on that. I thought you'd have realized it was a joke, so I feel bad.
Dude, that was actually insane.
If
Okay.
you want to
It's
hack
actually
Chris's brokerage
insane.
account, the way to do it is send him a meme right before the market
That's
closes.
right. 355. He doesn't have time.
Dude, I can barely make trades correctly when I'm like calm in the middle of the day. You do that with like a few minutes left on a Friday on a trade that I've been preparing to fast trade. You cannot do that to me. Anyway,
That's why it
what are we
was
talking about?
hilarious. That was extra fun. That would have been $35,000 worth of comedy right there.
Well, you made a great little image of the mistake that I'll have to tweet that out next. Okay, so Sphere, dude, this is wild, guys. This is absolutely wild. You remember I told you I was texting you guys and I was like, hey, I read every single TikTok comment on every single video the first 72 hours when Wizard of Oz came out. And there were people all around the world that were like, I am going to Vegas to see this show. This is the most incredible thing ever. This is what we've been waiting for. And I was like, wait a second. Sphere has not had a hit show. Like that Postcards from Earth was a piece of junk. It was the worst.
Well, it's a well done nature film. The same
No,
way
it's
when
not.
you go to the Omni, you're just going to watch whatever documentary, but it's not filling seats. But my
It
concern,
was
you started sending me these videos from that where people were taking from their seats, like, oh wow, the tornado and all this. My concern was when they panned over, there's 1,000 empty seats and empty seats. I didn't realize they were only selling that like center section. And so
that's a
in the
big
early videos, I was like, well, it seems cooler than we thought, but the videos themselves are showing like a whole bunch of emptiness.
Dave, they're like selling out every show and almost every single review are people that are like, this is the greatest. And so what was really unusual about this is that the previews, like the people that didn't even see it yet, were basically saying that this is going to be the worst thing ever because,
Yeah.
they basically cut up the Wizard of Oz,
They
leveraged it with
ruined a classic
AI,
film. They replaced everything with digital. No, it's amazing.
whatever.
Like all
Okay.
of the behind the scenes stuff I've seen on it's actually incredible that they took something that was shot in the
Who
30s
is
and turned it
watching
into.
the regular Wizard of Oz in 2025? It's not like anybody was going to see this movie if not for this production that they did at the Sphere. Okay, so like anyway, I was a little bit hesitant because I was like, oh wait, people hate this idea. It's controversial. The second the review started coming in, I was like, hold on. This could be the biggest thing that has ever happened to the Sphere in ways that I don't think anybody is even thinking about yet. Okay. And so I went all in on this trade. I bought a massive amount of call options, on Sphere.
And did you
And
do that
sure enough,
just
the
after
stock,
we talked about it? Because I know you bought
I
some stock right before we talked about it, which is what this box shows, the 40% gain.
I went all in on that Monday, I believe, right after the Sphere had come out that Friday. I think I bought a bunch on Friday, and then I bought a bunch more on Monday. And dude, this is like now one of my top trades of the year. And the reason why it's the perfect trade is this is exactly how social arb works. Regular people seeing something extraordinary that has potential to have a monstrously big impact on a publicly traded company. And Sphere is basically just one thing. Now we know they have MSG Network as well as part of that company that they're trying to like spin out and like get rid of. But for the most part, everyone investing in this company is essentially investing in the ability of this one location in Vegas to generate profit, because the better that this location does, the more likely the company is to be able to franchise both big and small versions of this venue all around the world. Okay.
Yep.
So this is the biggest thing that you could ever have happen because it's not a concert. If you do a concert there, number one, it's really expensive, right? Number two, you're very limited on how often you can show that concert because you actually have humans that have to get on stage.
Concerts have a scaling problem. You just can't duplicate it. Now, you can reuse the graphics that you did in Vegas and do it in London and do it in Abu Dhabi. You can do that and have a world tour of
Right, but the artists are going to
spheres.
perform, maybe 3-4 times a week tops, something like
Yeah.
that.
So here's
But
the deal.
a movie, you can just hit replay.
But hold on, understand this. Yes, the concert has like more than triple the number of people there because they fill every seat, even on the sides. But people are basically paying the same amount of money to see a live concert as they are a 75-minute film. People are paying $250 to $350 to see a 75 per ticket to see a 75-minute film that can be replicated at an infinite number of spheres if they actually had them. And you could do this at 2 p.m. and again at 6 and again at 10. I mean, you can't do 3-4 concerts a day. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. And the fact that they did this with an old piece of content that was more or less worthless, okay? Like they took content that probably cost them very little in terms of royalty. I don't know the exact numbers on the royalty agreement. I'm trying to get to the bottom of that now. There are different estimates of it that various analysts have, but they basically take a nothing piece of content, add some AI, add some special effects, apples dropping from the ceiling, wind and little piece of paper flying around during the tornado scene. They use AI to make it fill the entire screen, right, and have it be really sharp. And all of a sudden, they're generating, 5,000 tickets at hundreds of dollars a ticket multiple times a day. This is extraordinary. They're going to be running this show for months and months and months and months. But what's even bigger, I know the stock has almost doubled here. How much is the stock up since 30? It's almost doubled, right?
Well, it was up 40% since we talked about it.
Yeah.
And
from the bottom, probably 50.
Yeah, it's basically doubled. So here's the greatest part that nobody is really talking about yet. Yes, this will help them for the franchisee model that they've been hoping for and wishing for, that everybody didn't know if it was going to actually happen. Are people going to actually spend a ton of their own money to build these spheres all around the world if the business model is not proven? But now that they have a proven business model, they can go out and replicate this every year with a new film. I'm just going to
they need to start thinking about what other nostalgic films.
I will give you the best one right now. The best one, and I've spoken to some other people about this, and this seems to be the consensus of what everyone's saying in comments on TikTok. Everybody wants to see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory done like this. Okay, that is seems to be the number one film, the original.
Things that you can do that are real visual and sensory, right? And you can do cool things with, especially some of the rooms that they go in with the bubbles and smells and things.
Jordan, this is so big. So I think the model that has been either discussed by the company or at least analysts talking about this is that the franchise model, I believe they would get roughly a 1/3 cut. So you essentially have all these people spending all the upfront money, right? They spend all the money, they build the stuff, and they just send them a copy of this, Wizard of Oz deal. They start showing it and they get 1/3 of it. It is such a profitable model if you can start to replicate it. And if you could replicate it with content as opposed to just concerts. And by the way, the concerts are still huge because Backstreet Boys, people are paying $400 and $500 a seat to see Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. Do you realize how hard, how difficult it was for Backstreet Boys to sell tickets prior to being in the Sphere? Okay, they took a band that could barely sell tickets, stuck them in the Sphere, and for some odd reason, I have no idea why, but people are saying it's the greatest show ever at the Sphere.
Because it's an experience. It's different. You've never seen the projections. Put any band there. The Eagles did well there.
Dave,
but
they
not.
have cracked the code, and this is all happening. People are so confused. They're like, "But no one's going to continue to pay that much." I'm like, "Have you ever heard of what people do in Las Vegas? They essentially go there and they pay $300-400 a seat to see circ shows that have been around for 20 years, and they just keep doing it again and again and again. And it's probably the cheapest thing you're going to do in Vegas, as opposed to gambling your money away."
By the
right?
way, I don't want to hear this about the price, because people were paying $3,000 to $6,000 to go see Taylor Swift. So, like, if you really want to go see somebody, like, a few $100 is just what it is now. It seems like.
If you want to have a towel and a place to sit at the pool in Vegas, you're going to be spending hundreds of dollars.
Yes, and the bottom line is, people have nothing to do. They want things that will kind of hit that dopamine, right? Everyone has like a higher floor for what it takes to like get the dopamine going, and the Sphere is hitting our culture, I think, at the perfect point in time. So people show up in Vegas and they're like, what are we going to do? We want to do something cool and new. We don't want to see another circ show, right? Like, we don't want to just see these random Vegas shows that have been around forever. The Sphere offers something really unique. It's the perfect amount of time, 75 minutes. And Jordan, I'm not talking about the concerts. I'm just talking about like the Wizard of Oz or whatever the next one is that they do, and the next one after that, and the 100 after that, because they're always going to take this really cool nostalgic content that we all love, and they're going to reinvigorate it in a new way for the new generation and for people.
Yeah, really, you just need a small team of people just thinking and piling through old content and saying, like, what is cool? What can we make really interesting?
Yeah, the actual production cost to make the Wizard of Oz, there's reports saying that it was $80 to $100 million, and that likely included the rights and production and enhancement and marketing and adaptation, all of that stuff. So $100 million all in to have a production that's ready to hit repeat.
Nothing compared to what they're generating from this. And did you see?
But is that enough of a strategy? Is nostalgic remakes enough? Because we saw that nature films don't do it. We saw that concert films don't do it. There was that U2 concert film that they tried.
That. And do you know why, Dave?
So a Taylor Swift concert film might do it, which, by the way, Taylor Swift has announced she has a concert film coming out on the same day that her album is dropping for the Showgirls album. I don't think it's going to be in, surround vision Sphere style.
That's supposed to be at AMC, supposedly, but that's an anomaly. The concert is like a documentary, right? So you have people going to like a concert film, but unless it's crazy like Taylor Swift style, and there's a bunch of Swifties out there, like, the people are just kind of in their seat watching a documentary. So it's not like the energy isn't there. It really did not work. So that was like a huge mistake, but they learned from that. They're like, okay, that doesn't work. Now, next year, they have a film coming out called On the Edge, and it actually seems really cool. They basically have 6 extreme athletes, from like hang gliding to mountain climbing to deep sea diving, and it's like a 75-minute thing showing those extreme kind of sports moments, and it will probably keep you on the edge of your chair. I actually think that's really cool.
That sounds fun for about 7 minutes. I don't know if I could watch 75 minutes of extreme people just like dangling off the edge of a building.
What's the place in Fort Worth that already does this stuff?
The Omni.
IMAX, dude.
Is that the Omni Theater?
The Omni is the one with the dome.
They already do it. They've got their own Sphere. It's great.
No, it's not the same.
That's true. Fort Worth has its own Sphere. It's called the Omni, and they can just play the Wizard of Oz there for us.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They started on that project, and by the way, I do think it's really cool. And believe it or not, Postcards actually did pretty good, even though it was terrible, and it was also super political too. Like that, the whole film was just basically an environmentalist push, and people hated that part of it as well. But it still actually did pretty good. But they started that project, Dave, before the Wizard of Oz success. So now that they see the Wizard of Oz success, they are already going all in on the next project that is similar to that. I'm sure they have their social media people. They better reading the comments and seeing how many people want Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because whoever owns the license to the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, how much money do you think they're actually making off that? Like, this is a huge win for them to partner with the Sphere. And by the way,
and the rake has got to be way bigger for a movie than it is for a, for a band, right?
Well, Jordan, the thing is, with the films, they can show them multiple times a day.
Well, you can show it multiple times, but also like the profit per seat's got to be higher.
Well, it is, but again, as Dave said, you can only fill like 5,000 of the seats. So yes, you're making a ton of money still. It actually, I saw some analysis to where they said it was like roughly the same, more or less. It wasn't that big of a difference, concert or movie. The difference is a concert is replicable over and over and over as much and as often and at any time that you want to show it.
You mean the movie?
Show it simultaneously across a multitude of locations.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi is going to be opening up their sphere here at some point. They're already in construction on it, so that's happening.
I wonder if the concessions are different between the two.
But did you concessions are different between the two?
Yeah.
Maybe did you see though that they sold out all the apples they put for sale yesterday? The apples are what falls from the ceiling.
The 1,000 or so apples that they drop for 5,000 tickets. Like your chances of getting one, you have a 1 in 5 chance of getting one, or you can just go to the lobby and buy one. That I don't understand why you don't just do that. They're
you can
$10.
buy you can buy a 25-cent apple for $10, and then they offered them.
And then you can go sell it on eBay for like $80, right?
Yeah.
Or $200. When they first hit eBay, they were like $200 for a foam. It's not even one of those stress balls. It's just like foam. It's like a sponge.
So also getting into some of the, like the fundamental aspects of the company, the big issue with Sphere, they have a couple of them, right? One is they had this massive amount of debt, like $850 million, and they were theoretically at risk of bankruptcy if things kept not going so well because they had payments that were due on it. They were able to rework almost all of the debt. So that is off the table now. The company actually announced that they're starting to buy back stock and exercise warrants to kind of reduce that debt that is out there. Everything is going in the right direction. There is something that people still don't love, which is the owner. Dolan, he has a long history in his family, I guess, of spending money in weird ways of MSG. But I think there is a counter argument to that, which is this is not MSG. This is not like an arena where, there's sports and you're doing weird stuff for yourself. This is a place in Vegas that's showing programming. He's not going to get, I don't think, that involved with personal stuff as it relates to the Sphere. So I think that is something that people are leaning too far into as an area of concern. Also, Dolan has options that he granted or warrants that he granted to himself. I guess 3 million of them, and they're tiered and they start at $75 strike price. So he gets a million shares at $75. Then he gets a million shares at $100, and then he gets a million shares, I think, at $125. So he thinks it's going in that direction, right? But and there is going to be some dilution hits if it hits $75, and then again at 100, 125 that investors should be aware of. But I am just stunned that this is an investment that is totally geared for social arb traders because we saw it first. We were able to assess what people actually thought about Wizard of Oz and Backstreet Boys, as opposed to some highfalutin, highbrow, old school review person that was oh, they're ruining the film, right? And so we were able to quickly assess that this was a game changer for the company. And it doesn't get any cleaner than this. I was so excited that looking back, I kind of regret not going in larger. I went in large, but this should have been my number one trade of the year if I was thinking clearly about it.
We basically have been saying this for 2 years. When they first announced the Sphere, when they just were opening it for the very first time, the outside of it being such a visible part of the landscape in Las Vegas, we knew that it was going to be a visual thing that was going to be shared on social media. When they had something big, everybody's going to know about it, and so we just have to watch for those shows that are going to be unbelievable. Imagine a Taylor Swift there. That would be the next trigger point. I don't know that
Dave,
announcing that you're going to have
Swift.
Willy Wonka come to the Sphere is going to be something that moves the stock up another 50%. But
Yeah, I think Taylor
Dave.
Swift might be too big for the Sphere.
No, Dave, you got it wrong. Taylor Swift is a one and done. It would be awesome because it would set the stage for AAA list artists, but it almost looks like they don't even need AAA artists on the Backstreet Boys.
The whole story has changed. It's now about now that we have proven that we can do something in this location, our high visibility location. Let's clone it around the world.
Well, you want better margins than you would get out of like a Taylor Swift show, right? Because she would demand so much of the ticket price.
Jordan, getting to your point that you made earlier, Sphere has come out, I think it was in their last earnings, perhaps, and they said that based on the success of their filmed content, they might start to transition more of the showtimes from concerts to film content. So that tells you all you need to know, that they
Well, look, what I
prefer
think they
film
should do, I mean, look, and I'm not a consultant for them, so they don't have to listen to me, but it seems like you would want to do experiential movies throughout the day, and then maybe like your nights and weekends, like those you do for concerts or something like that, right?
No, of course, but I mean, even then, Jordan, they don't necessarily need to be 7 nights a week, right? It could be like 3 or 4 nights a week.
Yeah, you do like a Thursday through Saturday, like that's when you're doing your big shows or your big concerts. But during the day and day on the weekends, you just show the shows that you've produced for the big Sphere.
So here's what I love is that this intersects culture so beautifully right now, and the change that we're going through as a society. As a restaurant owner and a bar owner, this is something that we look at really closely. You've probably seen all the articles. People are definitely drinking less than they ever have before for numerous reasons. It's a cultural shift of young people. It's a shift towards being more healthy. It's the GLP-1s that make people just generally want to drink less. So people are like partying less. Also, just the youth culture is less about going out and partying the way that we did when we were that age. And people are.
Well, I think the information there's a lot of information that drinking alcohol increases your odds of getting cancer, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, all those things, right?
All of it. So people are looking for alternative sources of entertainment, things to do. And if you look back at the Sphere, it was such a risky proposition. Like, quite honestly, I'm stunned that thing ever got built. It was so expensive. Nobody knew if it was going to be a huge flop or not. And you're investing in all this technology that theoretically is like becomes less interesting in a decade, right, as technology continues to improve. So it's a huge capital cost that concerts and movies there are going to like wow people. And what if it didn't? Like, you just lost billions of dollars.
And the reality is the technology already exists. If Apple would license this Wizard of Oz movie, they could put it into their Vision Pro and it would be almost the same experience, except you're not going to get hit in the head with an apple.
I love how Dave always goes back to Apple Vision Pro. He still let
it go. Like, nobody cares about it.
You still love it.
No, I'm not saying that the Vision. I know that the Vision Pro is not the right form factor, but imagine though, you've seen what you can do with something on your face. We saw Meta just came out with their glasses that have a screen. We're going to get to the point where it's not.
Did you see, by the way, talking about Meta's glasses, did you see that they partnered with Oakley to have some athlete-specific smart glasses?
They're
like
the big wraparound mirror glasses, and then they have
They've got a camera
regular
in the
Ray-Bans.
They've got like bone conducting or open ear headphones, and I think they might display some things on the screen. I'm not 100% sure about that.
But I'm just saying that in the future, you're not going to need to sit in a room with a screen wrapping around you. You're going to be able to have a screen wrapping around you virtually that's stuck to your face.
I just still think that that's like the silent disco of, experiences. Some people think it's cool. It's not for me. I'd rather go somewhere and be around people.
Well, Dave, but you can't have apples falling from your ceiling and wind and fake tornado going on in your room. It's more
not yet.
Sensory.
Unless I come over and I bring my props, I just drop stuff on him. I have my stopwatch out.
I could pay someone to drop an apple on me.
that's right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And as far as the wind and all of that, yes, you can simulate that too. You could totally have a room that has all of the things that you just like. There was a time when you had to go when The Wizard of Oz first came out. You had to go to a theater to watch it. You could not watch that at home. I never saw it in a theater. I saw it on a VHS tape at my grandparents' house.
Okay, we know
Just
you
saying.
basically never want to leave your
saying.
house. But I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter as a trader, right? As a social arb trader, I have this thesis now that the first part of it is over. Everybody knows the Wizard of Oz is a huge deal. It's going to impact earnings. If you go on to X, there's a couple really good, I'll call them like, I guess retail analysts. One of them is a social arb trader that follows our channel. He DM'd me today. His name is Paris Analyst on X. But there's another guy that I sent y'all. Remember, I was sending you some of his.
Which one? I'll pull it up.
Post.
The one with the
It
charts.
was Kevin L. Mack, M-A-K. So Kevin L. Mack has done a lot of work on Sphere. So I would definitely go on X and I would pull up Kevin L. Mack, M-A-K, and read through all of his analyst notes because he's actually doing a really good job looking under the covers of how this is going to impact earnings. He's tracking how many seats are being pre-sold going into Q4. I don't know that either of these guys have done a lot of work on what this meaningfully means for the next couple years, because I actually think this provides product market fit that goes out years on Sphere. I think it's a massive game changer for the entire company. If they could just get rid of that MSG network, that is nothing but a distraction, and there are rumors that that might actually happen, that would be a really big deal as well. So part one of the social arb trade is over. Part two is just beginning. I am not selling my Sphere. I'm going to transition from a highly levered call options position, transition that slowly into more of a long-term equity position in Sphere, because every single time I talk to someone about this, guys, I was around a lot of investors the past week. I was doing robot stuff, and I don't think one person I spoke to knew this was a publicly traded company. I was like, wait a second. Do people not realize that Sphere is a publicly traded company? Is this like an unknown thing for a lot of investors?
Why are you hanging around with so many
instead of Sphere? But yeah, that's weird.
You shouldn't be hanging around with this many people who don't watch your show.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Well,
I mean, it's clear.
Did you say, don't you even know who I am?
The people I was hanging around,
and then storm out of the meeting.
The people I was hanging around are like $5 to $25 million check writers each, so I don't think they're watching a lot of our show. Some of them do, actually.
You need to get business cards with the show on it. These are the people who should be watching us. Do you have business cards?
I got into I was at a dinner, a 50-person dinner of nothing but ultra high net worth investors and institutional investors just having arguments around the table. And then I would start yelling at people because they weren't following me on X. They were my friends. Some of these people are my friends. And they're like, wait, when did that happen? I'm like, you don't even follow me on X. And dude, all this, I talk to you all the time and you don't even care to even follow or watch Dumb Money. And so it was pretty funny. I was having arguments. I was like, dude, I can't do this.
You need to remind them that we have a podcast version too, that they can just listen while they're driving.
Yeah, just watch the 20-second clips, the highlight clips of us acting like idiots. But at least you'll kind of see, you'll see what we're talking about, and then you can call me. You have my phone number, but you don't even want to spend the time to hear. I've known you 10 years, and you don't even care enough to even hear when I come across something that I think is great. I mean,
I've heard you can just put the shows in AI, and it'll just tell you what we talked about.
I tried that. I tried doing clones of our voices to see if we even needed to show up for this anymore.
It's
not quite good enough yet.
I'm waiting for that so we can actually do more than one show every 3 weeks because our schedule is tough.
I'm going to drop the next time we go 2 weeks without a show, I'm going to drop an AI episode and see if anyone notices.
God, I had so many big things to talk about, and now I can't remember hardly any of them. But by the way, speaking of
Well,
robots,
I can talk about my favorite topics.
Well, can we just talk about
did you
what's
watch
going on?
the Robinhood Summit at all? Did you see all of the announcements they made?
I have been so my head has been. I'm in so in the weeds of robot stuff the last few weeks that I just didn't even have a moment to really dive into that. Is it good? What do you think?
There's several things, and there's several things that are, how did they not have that before? You're going to be able to short stocks on Robinhood finally. How did they not have that before? I don't know, but that was a big announcement. A bunch of stuff related to AI tools that you'll be able to use in Robinhood Legend, which is their advanced charting platform. But instead of having to write your own code to create your own custom indicators, you can just describe what you want the indicator to show, and it will just code it for you. Pretty cool stuff if you're a chartist, which we're not, but pretty cool stuff. The kind of big announcement that I thought you would be most interested in is they're starting Robinhood Social, which is basically a platform where anyone can share their trades and their theses, and also not just closed off in Robinhood, but new sharing tools that you can share to X. You can share your actual charts, and when you say you made money on a trade, it's actually verified that you made money on a trade instead of just a screenshot. It's actually a verified thing. So.
Is this a
whole social
like
platform?
Their stock twits? Is it?
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but when they first started Robinhood, it was a social platform before it was a trading platform.
I didn't know that.
And they had one of their original people that was, I guess a celebrity amongst a very small group of people who were using Robinhood, the social platform. But I think that they were smart in not saying we need to have all of the traffic be on Robinhood Social, but building the stuff that you could share out to places where people are anyway.
I'm at odds with that if it allows people to mirror trades. I just think the entire concept of mirroring trades is one that is really dangerous and just sets a really bad precedent in a lot of different ways, including people potentially wanting to front run communities, which we've always been really careful to never ever do when we talk about stuff. So it's people could be selling into that. So if they get a big enough follower base and then they just use their follower base.
If they're using Robinhood, the trades would be essentially disclosed automatically, and you can see the size of these trades. It's not like you can do a $1 trade and double your money and have a secret account.
Yeah, but you can have accounts elsewhere, right? You can be using Robinhood,
but it's at least disclosed as to how much you have spent at Robinhood. And if someone's doing a small dollar trade, okay, this is just a joker, and somebody's doing a big dollar trade might be a small percentage of their actual offline money, but
Dave, but it wouldn't be a small. It would just look like a reasonably sized account, but they would have an equally sized account or one that's even larger.
Or somebody else is doing the trade on the other side.
Or they have a team of people. It gets into a really dangerous area that I think people have to be really careful which is why we say never ever copy our trades. Use us for ideas and never for trades. And do your own homework, figure out your own entry and exit strategy and all that stuff, right? I don't like it. I just don't like it.
There are my point is there are already people who talk about trades on X who have charts who put their ideas out there. This just verifies that what they said they did, they actually did. That's all it's doing. And it does. They do have a copy trade feature, and they're going to let you copy the Pelosi trades too. So it's they're building those kind of tools into this new platform that will live on and off Robinhood.
I guess their perspective is they just want to give people what they want, and people do want it. So
well, it's happening anyway. I think their perspective is it's happening anyway. every chart you see that's posted on X is either a Apple, just your Apple Stocks app, or Robinhood. Those are the only two charts you see some TradingView, but like there's so many people just posting their Robinhood balance and how it went up. Being able to verify that person actually did what they said is all they're doing. Instead of a screenshot, it now gives you a tool that you can actually share that you made the money you said you did.
Can you like hide dollar amounts and just show? This doesn't matter, but
I don't. It's not out. It's in limited release right now for a few invite only people on the betas, and I'm not on the beta, so I can't tell you. But I'd like to be on the beta. I'd give it a try.
All right, you want to talk about Tesla for a second? I think this has been a big topic of conversation. I think at least on X the last couple weeks, Tesla's on a run.
Yeah, they're huge.
Just to answer someone's question here, no, I mean, I do have a position in Tesla, but no, it's not nearly anywhere remotely close to what I was anticipating putting on when I felt that the Optimus trade would begin, like the real one that I've been talking about for 2 plus years. I think it's up for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think Elon really knows how to get people excited about Tesla. It was up for Robotaxi. It went up more recently because he bought $1 billion of it, and then he announced that it gets disclosed that he bought $1 billion of it. Do you feel that he bought that $1 billion because of the vote? That it's not going to have a huge impact on the vote, but it would have some impact on his ability to vote as a shareholder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he just has, he likes Tesla. I don't think he's trying to manipulate the vote. He already got the pay plan.
Timing, Dave. He's always liked Tesla, right? He's always liked Tesla, but I mean, it's the timing of it. He certainly has a huge. He's not doing it for a financial incentive for himself. He already has that huge financial. So it really doesn't matter. I think Tesla is going up for a few different reasons, including the fact that everybody knows they're going to have a huge quarter because the credit incentives are expiring. There is some concern next quarter, but that news seems to be baked in both positively and then negatively for next quarter, I guess. There is a lot of interesting things happening with Optimus, though, that I do want to talk about. So, Elon got back from all the political madness, got back to Tesla, and essentially came and announced that Optimus is 80% of Tesla, that the entire future of Tesla anchors on the success of Optimus, which is what we've been saying for over 2 years now, right? And what we've been waiting for. The problem is that there were decisions made on Optimus this year. Earlier in the year, they made decisions to go all in on sim training. So rather than doing conventional teleoperative type training of the robots, where you have a human with VR glasses and gloves teaching the robot how to do things, and it trains the model so it can do it autonomously, they just spent an incredible amount of money, which they have, on sim training. And they thought that would kind of get them to like expedite the models, and I don't think that it actually worked. Also, they had a really unconventional hand strategy at the company. The guy that had been leading the Optimus project for years, I think, always had a bit of his relationship. I hear rumors that it was always a little bit contentious. So Elon gets back, and the head of the Optimus program leaves. The head of the hand program leaves and goes to work for Sam Altman, building out their humanoid platform at OpenAI. And then last night, news broke that the head of artificial intelligence for Optimus, basically the guy working on the foundation models for Optimus, left the company. And he tweeted that it had, someone inferred that he left for Meta, okay? He left to go do this at Meta. And someone inferred that Zuck probably paid him a ton of money, which I'm sure he did. But he then tweeted out that this had nothing to do with money, that Tesla actually, and we know this, Tesla actually pays people really well, and that his financial incentives at Tesla were really good. So he would never leave for money. It seems like something really bad happened there. Nobody knows what exactly it was, but these are I would say the three most critical people on the Optimus team all recently left the company. So it's something. Listen, I know there are a lot of big Tesla fanboys that watch here. I don't care. Listen. I'm the one that put out the most aggressive thesis that anyone had ever seen, talking about Optimus being a $10 trillion segment of Tesla by the end of 2030 if Optimus executes on their plan. So nobody wanted Optimus to succeed more than me. But as an investor, it's exceptionally important for us to find the ground truth as it changes throughout time. And the bottom line is, it looks like Optimus 2 it appears that it had numerous critical flaws this year, both on the hardware side and possibly on the AI side as well, and on the hand side, it looks like as well. Elon has come out and said that they're re-engineering the entire platform for Optimus 3. I believe that he had this AI guy take over the initiative, and then Elon said, "No, I'm going to do this myself." So Elon is now fully back in the game at Optimus. He's over it. Basically, the future of the company appears to be pinned on Optimus now, and they're restarting it. It sounds like. So, is it good? Is it bad? I would say initially very bad. Okay, everything that's happened this year for Optimus. I don't know how an investor looks at this and doesn't think it's terribly bad, because they're essentially having to start over. But going forward, the fact that Elon is now laser focused on this himself feels optimistic. It feels like I'm going to make an assumption that at some point, maybe in Q1, we get to see V3 of Optimus. And I've even spoken to other roboticists outside of Tesla, and everybody just assumes Elon is going to figure it out, because he's going to push that team so hard.
I think they'll fix it. Who do you think has the best hand right now? Is it Figure? That's who I think it is.
No, okay. So Jordan, it's a great question. I have actually met with a bunch of hand teams independently. I'm looking at hand projects around the world. I'm also looking at hand strategies and projects inside of some of the leading humanoid companies. And my answer to your question is, they are all working on numerous approaches to solve the hand problem. I don't think anybody has the winning hand right now. I think we're probably 2 to 3 years away from having a hand that's truly extraordinary.
I will say that Brett was throwing shade at certain projects about using solutions other than hands for certain applications, which I don't agree with, because I've seen some of the other, fixtures that people have put on for hands, and in certain applications, I think it's fine, right?
Here's what I'll tell you, and I have I've spoken to some of the best hand roboticists that exist. Nobody has the final answer yet on what is the perfect approach, from an engineering standpoint, to perfect a robotic hand. There are a lot of approaches. Some of these companies are moving down multiple roads simultaneously, because they're not 100% sure if path A, B, or C will be the optimal road to go down 2 years from now, when they iterate and reiterate, and you're just iterating every 3-4 months on this hand. I think we are going to see hands in the next year that are good enough. They're good enough for now. And I think we'll see way better hands every single year after that. So I don't think it even really matters, because what happened in terms of who has the best hand now, because the way that this works is they kind of look and they learn from each other, right? So you see something out in the market, and then you kind of learn from that, and everybody iterates on their approach. So I know everybody wants these like firm answers of who's the best humanoid company, who has the best hardware. I'm like, slow down. Like, we're like a year away. No one has a scalable humanoid. I'm going to say that very clearly. There's not one company on Earth that has a scalable humanoid platform with their current gen right now. Now, will Optimus 3 be a scalable humanoid? Maybe. Will Figure 3 be a scalable humanoid? Maybe. Will the one coming out from Apptronic next? Maybe. We just have to wait and see. But there's not a company on Earth that has a robust piece of hardware platform for humanoids that is scalable yet. And I can't go into all the reasons why on this episode.
Yeah.
Just know that once you go super deep into the performance specs, all of the various things that you need these humanoids to achieve to start to be commercially viable at scale and durable at scale, no one has hit the mark yet.
Yeah.
So give us a year.
Yeah.
Answer that
and
question.
for me, I'm invested in all three of the major humanoid companies that we're talking about. Tesla starting over for their next generation, to me, sounds like what anyone is going to do. If you go from Apptronic's V1 to V3, they're not even the same category of robot, right? So
Correct.
I think that the fact that all of these companies are going to take what they learn in V1 and apply changes in V2 and apply changes in V3. And by the time we have V6...
Or might totally scrap certain elements and redo. I think that's totally fine.
It's a part of the process. You're building something that's never been a product before.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the thing that's really interesting about Tesla and Elon is that as a company, they have the resources where if something doesn't work, they can afford to scrap everything and just start from the ground up, which is a really difficult thing to do. Elon is a person who is obviously willing to do that because that's what having a founder attitude is all about. Like you just go. You make radical decisions. You don't act like a big incumbent in the space because that gets you nowhere. You have to make these really risky, radical decisions to just like throw it out the window. Let's start again. Let's take a different approach. I've been saying all year that I was concerned about Optimus, though, and where they were headed. A lot of the things that have come out on Optimus, as you know, I kind of knew a lot of that stuff 5-6 months ago. Nobody believed me. All my Tesla friends would rip on me. They're like, "We don't know what you're talking about. You don't know more than Elon." I'm like, I kind of do as it relates to this robot right now. And it's not that I know more than Elon. It's that I feel like Elon was just really distracted. He was doing a lot of stuff, as you know, and I don't think he had the degree of focus on this project that it
I think
deserved.
it's good that he's got focus on the company again.
Yeah. I think it's really good. Oh, by the way, speaking of Elon, Tesla, Robotaxi, I took my first
a Waymo.
Waymo. I wanted to take a Robotaxi, but I couldn't in Austin. And I took my first Waymo. It was at night. And all I have to say is if you are unsure of the degree to which you are a control freak, take a Waymo for the first time and you will learn a lot about yourself, because I almost had 3 heart attacks during that drive. I didn't sleep that night. I had so much anxiety. I had like flashbacks to the drive. I really do not. I love the entire concept of Robotaxi and driverless vehicles. I want them to take over all of our roads. I want it to happen sooner rather than later. But me personally, it's a really big hump for me to get over, to entrust that. I know the technology is better than humans. I know it is. Like
your brain tells you yes, but your mind is your
It
heart
is real
saying,
sketchy though when it's like pulling out and like nosing into traffic or something. You're just like,
so it did that, Jordan. So
Yeah.
I was in Austin, and it was at night. By the way, when you get into a Waymo, and I assume it's exactly the same in a Robotaxi, it is such a surreal Star Trek experience. It's talking to you, the mood lighting. You're just like, you're stepping into the future. It is just a magical experience. But when it approaches an intersection and there's a car coming the opposite direction at a red light and they're turning left in front of you and you're making a right turn, you know how cars, when they come, sometimes they don't stay in their lane and they'll go all the way to the car?
Yeah, they'll drift over and they'll cut it too short. Yeah.
I thought for sure my Waymo that was making a right turn on red was going to just chill out to see if that car was going to do that. And it didn't. It just made its right. I almost lost it. Fortunately, we did not. The car did what it was supposed to do that was coming at us and stayed.
I wonder if do they have like an internal facing camera where part of their training is to not freak people out on the inside? I don't know. You know what I really think about though when I think about Waymo is Silicon Valley, where the guy ended up in a container ship like in the middle of the ocean.
By the way, for those talking about, Chris, have you not used FSD? You have to understand it's different when you're in the back seat as opposed to having some degree of
grab the wheel if something's going wrong. You don't have control over the brakes if it is. It's. I have not been in one. I would love to go. I just can't. I'm not in a city that has one.
Yeah, it is, guys. I'm gonna repeat myself. It's that people are ripping on me. I'm like, it's not the same because you have to give up total control. So again, FSD. I know some people do crazy stuff and they get in the passenger seat and just let it do its thing, but I don't know how they do that with the sensors and stuff. But it's not the same. And I really wanted to do Robotaxi too. And I really want to do that. I was with some people that were attempting to get a robo, weren't able to. So it was just like they just weren't available, or they're on the wait list still to get on the app. So that's
okay, so I just saw a comment come up that said Chris.
Oh shoot, I gotta go.
My favorite quote from Camillo that I've heard about 1,000 times.
I have to go, guys.
I don't talk
Sorry,
to technology.
I have an emergency. Sorry, I have to go.
Okay, later.
I have to go.
All right, we'll see you next week. Okay. I want to hear Jordan's story.
Story's over. My favorite Camillo quote is.
What's your
he
quote?
Used to say it all the time. You know, with Siri and all this stuff, he will not talk to technology. So he's finally getting past that, and he will now let technology drive him. I'm proud of him.
I know it's a big step for him. It's a big step. He called me the next day telling me about his experience, and I was just laughing. His level of like being a control freak, I think, hit all-time high in that car ride. Me, on the other hand, I feel like I'm totally fine. I know that the car has better sensors than the human driver, that the car has been smoking less weed than the human driver. The chances of the Uber driver being a good driver versus the car that has been trained to be a good driver, my biggest concern still is all of the other cars on the road, and I still have more faith in the Waymo or the Tesla having better eyes on the road to see those other cars doing stuff and having a better brain than an Uber driver. Now, I still trust myself
chill
more.
Out and watch TikTok and just not think about it.
Yeah. When do you think we'll have a day when there isn't even a windshield, where you just have, entertainment surrounding you, your own sphere inside of the vehicle?
Well, isn't that the concept for the Tesla cab? The one that looks like it's like a big box?
That train-looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just looks like a mass commuter type vehicle where you just get in that instead of a subway.
Yeah, and you just check out and you don't worry about it.
Yeah, because you're not thinking about who's driving the subway. It's on a track.
Yeah.
We'll get to the point where we think of a self-driving vehicle as it's just on a track. It's not going to hit anything.
Yeah, you just don't think about it. It's like being on a bus. You're not paying attention to where the bus is going. You just do it. You read. You look at your phone. It's fine.
So we're going to have to figure out where Chris's emergency took him. We know he was having some telephone issues earlier. We'll have to hear that story the next time we do a show. Hopefully we'll do one next week, because 3 weeks really was too long. I miss you guys.
Too long.
Yeah, I don't see Jordan or Chris except for doing these shows. So this is, they say that when you reach a certain age in life, you never, you don't just like hang out with your friends, and the only way to really do that is to have a podcast.
Except for when we had way too many peach margaritas at the Mexican food place.
Well, we decided that would be a great second channel, Peach Margarita talking stocks. All right.
Yeah.
I think we'll end it on that. But thank you guys so much for watching, hanging out with us, and we will. Jordan, you do have a secret project. We can talk about that next week too, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know when you're going to be ready to talk about the secret project, but yes.
It's close. Yeah, it's close.
And
it was the alarm.
We have a vote in favor of a show drinking peach margaritas. It would be a full, entirely separate show. You'd have to subscribe to another channel to find it, because we don't want to put that on.
It'd be Peach Margaritas Live.
It would be pretty amazing, I think. All right, if we could figure out the technology behind being being.
And then what we do is we just talk until we get kicked out of restaurants, which is
Well, that's what we used to do on the old show, where we brought 4 cameras with us and set up tripods in restaurants. We just would do it until they told us to leave.
That's right.
All right. And if you haven't seen those episodes, they're available on youtube.com/dumbmoney. You're on Dumb Money Live right now. There was an original Dumb Money. Before we were live, we were recorded. All right. That's going to do it for this one. We're Dumb Money. We'll see you next week.